Connelly with a double biceps. It is in the contract on legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. The man to my left, but to your right, it could be, depending on which screen you are facing, the co-host, the co-founder, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this very room. It is none other than the master of disaster, the king of sting, the count of Monte Cristo, the Siberian bull. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award, the illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is none other than your friend and mine. It is Dave Stockbridge. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for that very warm welcome. As always, Hollywood Matt Connelly, you are watching Arm Wrestling Tonight. That is your 5 night a week, half an hour dose of all things arm wrestling. The man on screen doesn't really need an introduction at all. All he needs is a ready bang! Welcome to the podcast, Jake Ward. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Top five ready bangs. Has to be in my top 5 ready bangs. Finally, someone with some passion giving me a ready bang. Finally, I remember that used to be the thing I'd get all the guests to do back in the day at the end of the show to give me their best ready bang, and then I went on a streak of like 8 people going, "Oh, I can't do it, ready bang," and I'm like, "Fuck this! You've just killed the segment." But it might have been revived now. Well, that was a very good one.
Thank you very much. I have been working on it, and I have been practicing most of the afternoon just for that moment. So, but Jake, you're going to be here for the AWE Grand Prix 3. That's happening right here in Adelaide at the Grand Chancellor, 23rd of March. You will be on the mic and sharing your thoughts on all things going on in the table. But tonight, we're going to pick your brains a little bit about some of the talent that will be beside that table. And there's some fresh names, maybe some names you're not so familiar with. And, of course, some of those more established players that you are very, very familiar with. And we'd be keen to get your thoughts on how you think the seeding might have to sort itself out. Now, we do have an announcement. Hamza Hodzic is scratched. He is out of the tournament. He has withdrawn himself. Again, so this is unfortunate. He pulled out with very short notice at our last event. He had a last-minute illness, it seems, and was not able to compete. And on this occasion, he has signalled to us just in the last 24 hours that he will not be there under any circumstances, even though it's a hometown crowd and he only has to literally drive 15 minutes to be there to meet some of the best international talent that the AWE has to throw at the 85 kilo champions. But unfortunately, he won't be here, so he is off the list. And so that leaves us with 6 we can talk about. We've got one that we've got to keep under our hat for now, and of course, we are on the lookout for a couple of other talented young 85 kilo competitors. So now I'm sure you've cast your eye over the list of talent that'll be tableside on the 23rd. Jake, what are some of your thoughts? Where do you see the setting? Who do you think will be number one?
Well, it's a matter is will they all turn up? I had my seating, and now it's done. They're not there. No. For me, Josh Barker has to be ranked number one.
Okay. Wow. And is that because of his press or because he's gaining so hard to get to 85 kilos?
Yeah, look, I think he's got to pay. Like, I can't use the word respect because he might be, it rhymes with schmand still. So, but he's credible. Look, the 85 kilos, of course, you look at your Tarrans, your Jacob Tuxworths and things like that. But if I was looking at that, maybe Josh 1, Taryn 2. But then, like, I would not be bothered at all if it was Taryn 1, Josh 2.
Well, we have seen Taryn and Josh compete at AWE 1. They're on the table against each other there. We saw them jump on the table on several occasions, just having a friendly back and forth. And Taryn would feel comfortable, I think, in your estimations there, that although he might be considered the favourite by many and seems physically the more imposing of the two, Josh just has that freakish press off the start that is so difficult to contain. And we haven't seen Josh Barker at over 80 kilos competing in the AWE. So this is going to mean this is the closest that Taryn and Josh have been in weight and competing at the same time.
So, yeah, that would be my only concern is how big is Taryn? How big is Taryn? That's my, my X factor. Is Taryn 88 kilos cutting to 85? Then if so, Taryn's the number one seed. If Taryn's been sitting comfortably around the 82, 83 kilos, then, I don't know. Josh just has a very awkward style for a lot of athletes. So giving past history, I saw them both pull a couple of years ago, multiple times at the New South Wales Nationals. Josh got the chocolates there from memory. So, it's a flip of a coin between them two. And I'm sure at AWE, they will both come and sit down next to me and tell me why they are the number one seed.
And we've got maybe some unknown quantities here in Jeju, and we've got Guy Thanapat making his way over from Thailand, Jeju hailing from Singapore, making his way over. Of course, SK coming to us via Brisbane, but from South Korea originally. So of our international contingent, where do you see these guys sitting?
So SK Park, I've never seen him have a bad match. He is a very, very entertaining puller. Dive inside like he's, the second leg of the Olympic swimming team. Not a problem. And just always has a ripper match. Exciting. So where I would put SK would be a third or fourth seed. I mean, that's just based on knowledge because I'm not familiar with Guy and Zhuji. So, they might get easy passes. But SK, is just entertaining. So I feel whoever he gets in the first round, he'll be someone that wrecks your bracket.
And Terrence just clarifying here that he won the New South Wales States against Josh. He won at Garage Wars and he also won at AWE 1. But I still think we seed him number 2.
Well, then, because I was under the illusion, I couldn't remember, and I knew Taryn would be around to make sure his stats were right. So then, of course, I was remembering Josh won for some reason. He clearly did, and Taryn did. So then Taryn would be my number one seed then, based on past results.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at number 2 for now. Taryn, but Taryn will be on the podcast. I think he's on Monday. He will be joining us here live to share his thoughts on how he's feeling about his preparation. So we're really looking forward to that. And Neil has just shared some thoughts of his own.
Yeah, there you go, Neil. Hope all is well after the chaotic weekend over in Georgia. But Neil always does a good job, so he's in the safe zone. Always does a great job. Great job.
Absolutely. Morning, lads. Hope you and your families are all happy and healthy. Josh has looked impressive recently, but outside of Taryn, I don't know a lot about the other pullers, so interesting to see new lads.
And that's what really AWE is all about, just exposing some of that fresh talent that maybe the rest of the world has not had a chance to see on the big stage. And we did reach out to our friends in the Pacific region, and you've got the French Championships going on within Kui within a week or so of our tournament. And so those guys from many of those French influenced countries in the South Pacific area are heading over to France for that event and not able to make their way to AWE. But we just love sharing with the rest of the world some of this talent that we find on our doorstep.
And like with Neil keeping an eye on it, it's also a good stepping stone if, to try and get yourself a gig at Arm Wars. I remember doing a podcast with Jordan Davis and Andy
Koskowski?
Oz. Yeah.
Andy Handsome.
That's right. And Neil's in the chat. And I said, Neil, you've got to make sure that the winner of this match gets an opportunity. Paraphrasing. And yeah, Andy beat Jordan and Andy went over there. So people are keeping an eye. I mean, they might not want to admit it. Clearly Neil does, but they don't want to admit it. But they are keeping an eye on what's happening down here.
Well, I think everybody tries a little bit harder when they know Neil Pickup's watching as well. I think it brings that 10% extra strength. So it'll be very, very interesting. And I guess what we're hopeful is that these guys get that opportunity to show the world what they're all about. And of course, it's up to the rest of the world what they do from there. And it's these instrumental figures like Neil that just see a talent, see an individual, see a personality, and think, hey, that's somebody that we can shape, mold, guide, mentor, and provide an even bigger future to. So, and we've seen that with Jamie Barrett, of course. We've seen it, and which Neil's just mentioning right now. We're hopefully going to see that with some of these guys that are on the card on the 23rd of March.
And Neil, mate, you're too old to be doing all-nighters. Plus, the event starts at like 9 p.m. at night. So it finishes at 4 a.m. after all, just the event alone. So you're forced to do an all-nighter.
So we've got the unknown quantities for you. What do you know about Guy Tunapart? Have you familiar with the young man at all?
I'm just trying to think if Guy Tunapart. I think he was on the card when Schoolboy pulled Mike Ford when Alex Top Roll and Schoolboy went to Singapore 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Yes, this event here.
Yeah.
This event. So this is where I think I saw Guy Tunapart pull.
Right.
So
and he's an impressive young man. And whenever we're talking to our athletes, we're always suggesting to them that, you know, half the game is on the table, the other half is on social media. And the more that you can do on social, the more opportunities you'll attract. And Guy has his social game nailed. 350,000 TikTok followers, nearly 220 followers on Instagram. He is making waves. He's a great ambassador for the sport. He's spreading the word in Thailand, but he's also one of these rare talents from Southeast Asia that also speaks English exceptionally well. So good looking, speaks English, highly marketable, huge social following. You'd imagine this young man's got a big future.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I've been banging my head against the wall for years for people to be upping their social media game. Unfortunately, talent just doesn't do it anymore. There's too much talent. There's too much talent in the sport of arm wrestling. So it's you just can't. You can't just be a good arm wrestler anymore. I can't even think of one. Jerome Loud is probably the only good arm wrestler I know. But even you, Dave, squinting your eyes, who's Jerome Loud? He's a big fella from America. So, and he's getting booked because of his talent, but he's like the only one.
Yeah, that's the thing is, every weekend in the United States, there's probably 3 or 4 tournaments that are going on. So if you win one of those tournaments, it might be like, okay, great, you've won that tournament, fantastic. There was also 3 other winners from around the country that weekend. Next weekend, there's going to be another 4. Next weekend, there's going to be another 4. So if you want to really stand out, it's like, well, just winning the tournament maybe once every 6 months is not going to be enough to make you get noticed to be on those big organizations' cards.
No, a perfect example. Neil rang Uncle John and we worked together and we did the Savage Search and it launched John Terrian's career. That's why he calls himself the Savage, because he was a good puller, going nowhere. Not so much going nowhere. John's a really good dude, but
let's be harsh.
Going down the drain he was. His life was over. It was
getting lost in the mix. I retract my statement. Sorry, John. But
he hit rock bottom and then he missed the award.
And then he saw the light. So the Savage Search was in the distance.
Hang on while I just get my halo out of the dishwasher. And
Jake Ward standing on a cliff looking over.
Hold my hand, young son. Hold my hand. Reach out.
So Guy Tunaput, he's an unknown quantity at this level. It's fair to say. You know, we've seen him in several matchups. We've seen him in Singapore. He comes highly rated by Greg Yeo, who's sings his praises and shares with us that he's fantastic to work with. He's one of these guys who will do everything he can to promote the event as well. He leverages that huge following in order to bring more attention to everything that he's doing, which is every promoter's dream. And but on the table, untested against the talent of, say, a Taron Broad or a Josh Barker. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how he performs under the bright lights at AWE Grand Prix 3.
Yeah, I think it's good. And it's good on you guys for taking a punt on the 85 kilos, because when it comes to AWE, people just want to see Ryan, Lockie, Mario, Rickard, you know. So it's really good on you guys to try and get to, you know, a Thai puller, a Singaporean to come over and take on some of Australians' best.
Well, we did ask Ryan, but he couldn't make it. Not to Australia, but wait. I mean, so we've got of course where's the list gone? I've just Zhu. He's another unknown quantity making his way over from Singapore. Very, very competitive on the table. He's basically Greg Yeo's substitute here, because Greg would have dearly loved to have come and been part of the event. Wasn't able to. First name that came to mind was Gigi Yu. So we're really looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer. But do you know much about Gigi Yu?
No, I don't know much about Zhuji, unfortunately. Word of advice, Zhuji, don't have your social media on private.
There you go. Yeah, he's a little bit of a secret squirrel there. So it'd be great to know a little bit more about him. We'd love to be able to promote him in the lead up to this event. So very good advice.
For that reason, I think SK will be 3.
Mm-hmm.
Guy 4, Jacob 5, and Zhuji, because I haven't seen anything on Zhuji yet.
Yep.
And so that would have to be based off what I've seen, what I've known.
And Jacob Tuxworth is joining us on the podcast tomorrow night. So we're really looking forward to seeing what Jacob's got to say about his chances.
Northside Vikings up there. I've seen him pull at a Nationals. He came to Victorian State.
And so we are at 6. Now, we do have a special announcement that will come closer to the event with respect to who was to fill that final position. But Levan might...
Oh, hang on. Whoops.
No, it's not Levan. Okay. But he's going to struggle to make weight. But Levan's calf will be competing, I think, is probably about as much as we... Not Levan, indeed. So now, when you think about 85 kilo pullers in the region and beyond, you know, who do you think would be a good addition? What names come to mind that aren't on this card currently that you would love to see compete at the AWE Grand Prix 3?
If Robbie Capone could make 85 kilos, I think Robbie Capone, Sam Burnett, Jamie Barrett. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not sure what's going on. Well, I know Jamie just had surgery. Jamie Barrett's a star. I've been on him since I met Jamie Barrett when he was 15 years old. 2020, I think I met him.
Wow.
Had a Queensland state title, 2020 or 2021. And I've been a big fan of him since then. It does help when he's wearing an Aussie arm wrestler shirt. I'm going to come up and have a chat with you. So that does help. Sammy Burnett is a star. He's had, wins over Taron. Mm-hmm. He's been to an Arm Wars. He went to a King of the Table qualifier. Unfortunately, got probably the worst draw in tournament history. Round 1 was against Svetan Gashevsky. Round 2, I think, was Bojidar. Sam can go. National champion. Who was national champion 90 kilo this year that probably could cut weight? Rhett from Victoria. Rhett Downard. He would be.
We've been through the list.
Yeah. I mean, these are
right.
definitely your suggestions, and this is really heartening because these are all the names that came to mind for us as well as we're reaching out to athletes and trying to ascertain their availability and get people together. The guys in the South Pacific have the French Championships. We've got Jamie, who's out of action at the moment. We've got Sam Burnett, who's hasn't been preparing, hasn't been training, and
Kyle Howarth is in overseas. Phil
Rasmussen
is also overseas.
Greg getting married. So there's a great deal of talent that's in the region that's not on this card, which might well serve us well for a future Grand Prix 85 kilo event. But it's just one of those coincidental things that 85 kilo talent seems to have something on that weekend.
Yeah, it's weird. It's. I'm not knocking any of those guys, but it is weird because a lot of them cry poor. Not those names individually, but a lot of people cry poor. But it's just hilarious when opportunity knocks. No one's at the door. Like people are begging. People are begging, whether it be Australia, whether it be, overseas. They're just like, we want this, we want this, we want this. And then, all right, well, we've got it. Do you want to cut? Oh, busy.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, then, well, bug here.
I like this comment here from Neil that says, get Tom Haviland training. If you're not familiar with who that is, it is, let me bring him up on the screen here for you, but he's one of the strongest men going around, but he likes to keep his privacy, and he always sort of hides his face in most of his videos. You get a lot of shots of his back, like this here. And he just lifts incredibly heavy stuff. But Ryan Bowen has actually reached out to him before in the past, had some conversations with him, but he wasn't interested in the arm wrestling side of things, unfortunately for us.
No. And who can blame him? He's making quality money off his strength content. So if you come and arm wrestle, that'll stuff up these sorts of lifts for him. So he's not getting paid enough. That's the thing. Like, he has dabbled in arm wrestling before, but anyone that's done strength training, you jump on the table for 6 weeks, you're cooked. Like, it takes a lot of adjusting.
Yeah.
So, well, Hollywood, unless it's financially viable for Tom, I can't. Yeah.
Hollywood Matt Connelly, maybe we can go to the comments and see what the people are saying.
Absolutely. Well, we've got the Drew, who's always first. He likes to be the first person in with the smiley face avatar or emoji there. Well done.
Do you have a job, Drew? Because I love your dedication to all the channels. He's very... And that's not a knock on Drew. That's not a knock on Drew at all. He's just everywhere. And it's great. It's great to have people like that in the sport.
Absolutely, yeah, big supporter. It was on. I had him on my show last week, I believe. So I think it was fun. A lot of support for him in the chat, which was really cool to see.
Good.
But he was also in the chat as well as being on the show.
He was out on his own appearance.
I think that's just out of habit. I think that would have just been out of habit.
That's right. I was like, I knew it. I knew you were two different people. We've got Tara Broad, who's jumped in. He was just highlighting that he had won the New South Wales States. And, of course, Neil Pickup, the man who has moved arm wrestling forwards tremendously over the decades that he's been involved in the sport. Got the Drew again. The Drew, Michael Ford has jumped in. He wanted to have a look at the list, which we've had up for a little while now as well. Dominic Lawrence is here. Hello to Dominic. He's always a big supporter and big fan of AWE, which is fantastic to see. And we've got Home Gym Physique. He jumped in, asked Neil a question. Is Thor's injury bad? Will he still be competing at this weekend's Arnold Classic? Which Neil did actually reply to that question. Here it is, I think. No, that's him again. Sorry, it is. No, that's the Drew. I'm clicking the wrong buttons here. I'll find it in a minute. But he did Oh, there it is. Here, I got it. Here we go. So he says, home gym physique. Hard to say at this stage, mate. Hope he's good to go. Jake is correct. A solid performance at Dark Card 2 launched John Terrian's career. Good for him. So there we go. And
I'm always right.
Dominic is putting forward some names, but we did go through those names.
We would have loved to have had Rhett here. We've had Rhett, of course, featured at AWE too as well.
Absolutely. We've got a question here from Neil Pickup. He says, do you guys have many bouldering indoor climbing walls out in Australia? Many potential talents in those places, 65 to 90 kilo pullers in the main, but some genuine talent. Yeah, some of our guys have been getting into that.
They in Victoria.
Yeah. I think a few of the guys at the local club here in Adelaide do enjoy that, and they like the grip side of it, because you are holding it. Sometimes you're holding your whole body weight with, just one hand and that sort of thing. So it does have some translation over to the sport of arm wrestling. Mindaugas Dolskus is here. What a fantastic arm wrestler.
The wrecking ball.
That's right. He is a new opponent at the Arm Gods event coming up March 21st in, where is it? Philadelphia at the Valley Forge Resort Casino, and he will be taking on I've forgotten who the opponent is, but he is a fantastic arm wrestler, and it's really good to see him get these big opportunities for the first time in the United States for him. For him, for Arm Gods going and competing and putting on a show.
I was going to say not for my man Minda.
No. He's very well traveled and such a lovely guy as well.
Yeah, Minda's awesome. I love Minda. I love him.
Mr. Reddy Bang says Phil Woody.
I feel Woody too. I've got a bromance for him. He knows it. Phil knows it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it is great to see the support coming in from the comment section here. We get running at this time, it seems to be the UK. It seems to be better for the UK people. We get a lot of people jumping in like Neil and even Mr. Peanut. I don't know if he's from the UK, but we've got Phil Woody and a lot of the guys from that side of the world are able to watch what we're doing here. It is probably the opposite to a good time for the United States, but we still get the Drew in here regardless.
No, they just love it. People just love it. It's been fascinating. Like just the last 3 or 4 months, we got 7-8 packages sent to our house from arm wrestling fans. Mrs. Aussie Arm Wrestling.
Were they ticking?
At that stage, I wouldn't have cared. I could have done with the sleep. So, the fans, the support. It's when it's good, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's just like, who would have thought? Even like when I did the live commentary on the weekend, 3,000 people tuning in. Not so much tuning in with me, but all wanting to chat about the events, that are going on while I lose my shit here at the computer. Should have seen me. I was going nuts.
Well, we'll revisit some of these comments because they're just flying in towards the end of the podcast before we get Jake Ward's predictions of who he thinks might well take away all the chocolates at AWE Grand Prix 3.
Absolutely. So it's pretty much the same people that have jumped in here. Neil Pickup did highlight that the lock-off positions advanced climbers utilize in bouldering is effectively arm wrestling. Well, absolutely. Yeah. So many things that are reliant on that grip. And if you get on the table with a climber, you really feel that finger strength, that hand strength, that wrist. It's like, oh, what do you do? They're like, oh, I do climbing. It's like, yeah, okay. Very obvious. Very obvious. And this I get this a lot with people that do trade work, like electricians or plumbers or whatever.
Concreters.
Yeah, they have this like a very powerful movement that goes for like 30-40 seconds of strength, and it's like, why is this person so strong for so long? And it's like, what do you do? They go, oh, I'm an electrician, or I'm doing this, or all day they're fixing stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Well, I can't mention who, but I might have a 7-foot tall opponent coming up in an exhibition match. Watch
Ooh,
his
ooh,
face.
ooh, ooh.
I didn't
Wow,
think Uncle
okay.
John. I don't think Uncle John was 7 foot.
He's 7 foot wide. Should check his shoulders.
Yeah, he keeps getting bigger.
He's huge.
Well, some big news for Jake Ward upcoming.
Michael Ford just mentioned what's going on with Over the Top later on in the year. No official announcements as yet, but we're hopeful of having Phil Rasmussen on the podcast as soon as he's got some news to share. So that'll be imminent news on that one, Michael. So stay tuned.
God, that was fun last time.
Yeah, well, it's it could be more fun coming up very, very soon. Jake Ward will be hosting. He'll be on the commentary desk. He'll be doing his thing on the 23rd of March. So you can certainly look forward to seeing the man on screen doing what he does best. Of course, sitting right there alongside Hollywood Matt Connelly on the commentary desk, and of course more helpful hints and tips from Neil, just suggesting we should maybe pack up the ute and head down to the indoor hill climbing, mountain climbing range, and get some guys on the table. So that all makes complete sense. I think if we're about unearthing talent, then there's no better spot to be doing that than at the indoor climbing facilities. So just before we go, two things. We've got Rickett Borman versus Brett Coots on left hand. Big match. How do you see that one?
You've got to. I've bought my ticket. I'm on the Bournemouth train. Okay. You know, Brett's left's world class. It's brilliant, and he's going to rock on a show. But I am, I'm front and center. I've got myself a first class ticket on the Rickard Bournemouth train.
Express.
Left or right arm. You can guarantee he'll get a prediction from me.
Okay, and of the names that we've already discussed, of course, there's some X factors. There's still a couple of competitors still to fill the ranks, but of those names that we've discussed tonight, who do you think will walk away with the chocolates?
I think Taran.
Taran Broad.
I think Taran will win it. I think Taran will win it all.
Okay, well, there you heard. You've heard it now, Taran. So you can console yourself with that prediction after being told a little bit earlier that you'd lost everything to Josh over the last
nobody
couple
got
of
it
years,
all wrong. But I just seeing that comment from Neil, I can't say anything. But I late last year got an update about Danny Tesh.
Oh,
I can't say anything, but it was just like I found some stuff out, but it's not my information to tell. I can't this is why I'm good at keeping secrets, because I was told this like 4 months ago, but because that was brought up, I was like, oh shit, I actually know where he is.
He's been at his house this whole time.
Yeah.
He's upstairs.
Oh, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Jake Ward's predictions for AWE Grand Prix 3. Of course, we'll round out this conversation as we know more about who will be rounding out that top 8 at AWE Grand Prix 3. And I want to thank the man on screen. I'll give you one more. Ready? Bang!
Yeah!
And I want to thank everybody who's in the comments. Thank you, Neil. Thank you to Drew. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, everybody who jumps in every single time we are live. Thank you very much, Hollywood Matt Connelly, Jake Ward, of course. And we look forward to seeing you on